Charu, when it comes to China, you say that the reopening has been overpriced. What do you mean by that?
I do not really doubt the commitment of the authorities to move away from those zero COVID policies that they had in place for much of this year, more than that. I think what really is important to watch here is that there are a lot of workers calling in sick. So there will be, a slowdown in activity because of the amount of cases that we see now. And that will impede the positive effects that we get out of that reopening trade that we've all been running after over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I think that being said, and then of course the other risks to the economy in terms of the supply chains moving out of China, geopolitical tensions still continue to be there. I mean, I think it's a bit softer than what we've seen pre-pandemic, but over the course of this week we've had headlines about the chip wars escalating again and Japan coming into the picture with that as well. We still have headwinds in the property sector. So I think with all of that, we are a little bit cautious of overpricing this reopening trade at the moment. But again, I think one point to note here is that China's credit impulse is turning positive. So 6 to 9 months from now, we can see the activity data to improve. But at this moment, given the positioning has changed so much completely, I would be a little bit more cautious there.
Charu, what are your assumptions when it comes to the US dollar next week, given obviously that will have a huge impact across Asian markets and positioning?
This quarter has certainly suggested that we have seen a temporary peak in the US dollar because we are now seeing a downshift in the rate hike trajectory from the Fed. But my sense is, going into the next year, we have seen most of the interest rate story being absorbed by the markets right now. So as we get into, past the second quarter of next year, we will see these recession concerns sounding bigger alarms, perhaps, at least for the markets, and that will mean again, safe haven flows going back to the dollar. So I would not really call out a cycle high in the dollar yet. I would think that liquidity pressures, the kind we've been seeing right now, and probably those will escalate again into the next year, as well as safe haven flows out of the recession concerns will still support, I think, further gains in the US dollar next year.